I'm Jo Barclay-Logie, and today we're going to look at our very first French beading technique, and it's called a basic frame, and I've called it the 6-bead basic frame, and that's because we're going to be using 6 beads in the center, and it will all become very clear a little bit later on. So to do your French beading, to make things a lot quicker, a lot simpler, we use a tool called a bead spinner. And if you've never used one of these before, I've done a quick demo on how to use it and how to spin directly onto your wire instead of using the needle that comes with it. And I'll pop the link to that in the comments below here. So this is the very first thing that we're going to learn to French bead, and it is a little leaf. It can be a petal. You can mix your colors around. You don't have to do them all in one color. But this is our little leaf, and you can see you can give it a bit of shape just by manipulating it with your fingers and folding a few little kinks here and there, and you've got a perfectly beaded little leaf. So that's what we're going to learn to do. So we're going to need a spinner, a tube of seed beads, and I'm using silver lined green with an AB coating on them. And you're going to need some wire. I'm using 0.4mm wire today, and I'm using it off the reel because to form my leaves, I'm just going to spin as many of these green beads onto the wire as possible because I'm going to make a whole bunch of leaves. So fill your spinner with a tube. If you are unsure as to how to use your spinner, I have done a demo previously on just the basics of forming a needle with your wire and how to use the spinner. Today I'm not going to go into that in depth. I'm just going to get going straight away and start by spinning on a few more of my beads. So I'm just spinning the green beads onto my wire. You can see how they jump up the wire, and you want to spin on a good amount. It's quite therapeutic actually, spinning the wheel. So and spin until you've got, I would say, at least 1 meter of little beads strung onto your wire. So you'll just keep going and moving them up until you've got enough. To continue with our 6-beaded basic form, this is the same length of wire onto which I've strung all my little seed beads. And I'm going to come back to the tip where I had my needle, and I'm just straightening it out. And I'm going to come down roughly 10-15 centimeters, form a little loop so that you've got this tail of wire here, and I'm just going to twist this loop at the end here. This is just so that the wire doesn't unravel. Right, so what we're going to be doing is using the beads that are on our wire, there they are, to wrap around the central vein of our leaf here. And it is called a 6-bead basic frame, so that means I'm going to start off by picking up 6 of my little green seed beads because I don't want any wire to show. So there's 6. Now you could do a 3-bead, a 4-bead, it doesn't matter whether it's an odd or an even number. Obviously the more beads you add here, the bigger the gap of the beads that you're going to have as you wrap around. So I'm going to release some of those beads that I have strung on, and I need to measure. I don't want to come too far above that central vein, otherwise I've got all this silver wire showing. So your beads need to be just longer than your central vein there. So I'm going to send those ones back, and I'm going to come into my central vein. So I need to curve that wire that I'm adding on the right, and I'm now going to wrap around the central vein all the way around, because I've added some beads on the right hand side, and I now need to add them on the left. So I'm going to drop down a few more now. It was just one twist of wire, and I'm coming back to the center. So you can see where my beads are going to meet. They cross I'm holding it in place with my thumb and they cross on my forefinger, and I'm going to wrap around the central frame once. So there's my first side done on the right and the left. So now I'm going to release a few more beads. You can be really specific with this and count the number of beads that you want to do each time, but I'm just doing it by eye. So I'm bringing that up to the central. Now I want this row to just hug the first row of beads, and I'm wrapping around at a 45-degree angle and back down the other way. So I'm going to release more beads, and as I say, you can be counting these so that both sides are equal, but nature isn't perfect, so my leaves will look as equal as possible, but just done by eye. So I'm coming back down to that central stem, or that central vein, and I wrap my wire once around, ready to go up the right hand side again. Each time, if you just run your wire between your thumb and your forefinger, it will just straighten out any nasty kinks. So I'm going to release a few more beads again, and I want them to hug just the outside. Now, can you see there's a little gap of silver wire there? So before I do any more, I'm going to add in just 2 or 3 of my little green seed beads, because that will just cover that little bit of wire there. So I'm ready to wrap around my central vein, and I'm coming the opposite direction now. So release some more beads and push them right up to the central vein. Coming back down to where I've twisted, and I come round that wire once, straightening it out. Each time I'm getting bigger and bigger on the side, so I'm releasing more and more beads. Just popping them in place so that you can see exactly where you want them to go. Round the central vein once, and come down the other side. You can see if you release too many, you can actually just with your thumbnail pull the beads away to where you need to be wrapping. So I'm going to come once more. You can make these big leaves as big or as small as you want. So I'm coming once more up to the top. I'm going to bend my wire around the central vein and come down on the other side. And now I'm just going to wrap the wire around a few times because I'm finishing off. And you can then take your wire cutters and snip that little bit off there. If you've still got beads, like I have on the end of your wire, just form a little loop, because that way those beads aren't going to run off the end and you can use them for another leaf. So to finish this off now, I'm just going to trim this with about 1/2 centimeter to go with my cutters. So I'm trimming a little bit of wire. And then with your round nose pliers, which I haven't brought with me, so I'm just going to use my nylon jaw, I'm going to bend that little bit of wire over to the back. And that way no beads are going to fall off the end of my little leaf. And then with this side here, well, you can carry on twisting your wire to form your stem. And then you just need to snip in the middle there. And depending on how long you need your stem of your wire to be, you carry on twisting. So there you have your 6-bead basic frame, and we called it 6 beads because the first thing we did was add 6 beads through the center here to the central vein, and then we worked our way around. They're great because you can give them so much texture and shape by just using your fingers to manipulate them slightly out of shape, and you get more of a 3D feel to your beading. So that's your little leaf shape. I've got loads of green left, so I can continue making all my little leaves for another project. Thanks for watching. Bye.